Hi, my name is Kent Parker. Who was the first fictional superhero? Was it Mandrake the Magician, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, or was it the Man of Steel himself? And in this world, a world where superheroes really do exist, who was the first real superhero? Where do superheroes come from? And what about their counterparts? Who is the first supervillain? Join me as I answer these questions and more as we journey through the secret world of superheroes. The 50s, when very unsexy clothes and simple haircuts were all the fad. It was also the time of the birth of the first superheroes. Ironically, it wasn't a superhero that made the first headlines. Instead, it was the first supervillain. His name was Escrow, and this is the only known photo of him. It was believed that he was created from radiation from the atomic bomb testing in Nevada. Escrow was impervious to the standard weapons of the time, and he had bolts of radiation that destroyed just about anything he unleashed his power at. The authorities were unable to combat this new kind of menace, and it took a new type of hero to combat the first supervillain. His name was Captain Richard Dookie, and he was a captain in the United States Army. During an atomic bomb test, he was accidentally exposed to radiation, which caused him to lose his hair and turn orange. Now, the next part is a little fuzzy. Somehow, he got a pair of cleats which would become known as the Cleats of Power, and somehow they gave him super strength. Originally, Captain Dookie was going to be called Super Dookie, but, well, he was later dubbed Captain Bakersfield because he lived in Bakersfield, California. Beyond his Cleats of Power, Captain Dookie was immune to the effects of all radiation, and that allowed him to battle and eventually defeat Escrow. Hi, I'm sitting here with Daniel Mooley, the producer of this documentary. So Daniel, what possessed you to try to make a documentary about superheroes when not even the major networks have been given access?
Well, I can tell you that in one word, Ken.
That's Kent.
Well, Kent, that word is passion and obsession. See, when I was a kid, I used to watch the cartoons of Captain Bakersfield and the Barstow Kid. And that's when I first fell in love with superheroes. Captain Bakersfield was a real superhero, and he got his powers from his Cleats of Power.
Cleats of Power?
Anyway, I dreamed of being Captain Bakersfield, and I was just like the rest of the kids on the block.
I'm Captain Bakersfield. I'm Bubblegum Girl. I'm the Magician. I don't want to be a superhero, and why do I have to run?
We all dressed up as our favorite superheroes and pretended to save the day.
You're always acting like my mother, always telling me what to do. You're such a tyrant.
And, of course, I had my Cleats of Power.
It was the 60s, when people dressed freaky, danced goofy, and superheroes ran amok.
Aware! Alert! Alive!
By the early 60s, superheroes and supervillains were commonplace. But the government looked at them as nothing more than troublesome vigilantes. Laws in place punished heroes rather than accepted them as opponents to villains. Then, it all changed. Her name was Diana Bennett. She was the assistant to a Texas senator, and she was accidentally exposed to gamma radiation. In a short time, her body was turned to solid gold, although her body did function normally. At first, she became a media celebrity and relished in her newfound fame. Then the men in the media dubbed her Lady Goldbooty, and she was teased by men everywhere. Unfortunately, the Texas senator being, well, a Texan, he wanted to melt her down for her weight in gold. So, he imprisoned her, claiming that she was not human and the property of the United States government. It was soon learned that she had the ability to phase in and out of space, so she walked out of the prison and nobody could stop her. Filled with rage and anger at men, Lady Goldbooty went on a path of destruction. Lady Goldbooty had the ability to shoot bolts of radiation like a weapon. She killed men and destroyed buildings that men occupied. Women everywhere donned their booties in gold to support Lady Goldbooty. It wasn't until Lady Goldbooty started killing young boys that women turned against her. The authorities were helpless, so it was an old favorite superhero that brought her to justice. Captain Bakersfield teamed up with a relatively unknown hero named Pragmatic Man. With the defeat of Lady Goldbooty, the government recognized the value of superheroes, but it would be another 20 years before heroes would be fully accepted by the government and the people. It was the 80s, when people dressed like freaks and looked like freaks, but none defined the era more than the superhero Outer Space Boy and the supervillain Nemesis. Outer Space Boy was a technological super genius capable of spaceflight. Nemesis was by far the most notorious supervillain of the time. He was capable of wielding very powerful magic, but his greatest weapon was his intelligence. He too was a super genius, and he was the first supervillain to unite and control organized crime through force. His control of organized crime was called the Syndicate, and the government was virtually powerless to stop him.
For many years, we have tolerated in America, not just in the illegal and highly dangerous drug traffic, but in many other areas, a syndicate of organized criminals whose power is now reaching unparalleled heights. Today, the power of organized crime reaches into every segment of our society. It is estimated that the syndicate has millions of dollars of assets in legitimate businesses. It controls corrupt union locals. It runs burglary rings. It fences for stolen goods, holds a virtual monopoly on the heroin trade. It thrives on illegal gambling, pornography, gun running, car theft, arson, and a host of other illegal activities. The existence of this nationwide criminal network and its willingness, and too often its success, in corrupting and gaining protection from those in high places is an affront to every law-abiding American and an encouragement to every street punk or two-bit criminal who hopes someday to make it into the big time.
In what is considered the greatest battle between a hero and a villain, Outer Space Boy battled and eventually defeated Nemesis. The battle has often been defined as a metaphor for a battle of technology and modernism against mysticism and spirituality. Nemesis received only 50 years in prison for his crimes.
Excuse me?
And with his defeat,
I'm sorry, you guys can't film here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we couldn't.
jackass!
Holy Medusa!
What? No.
I'll be your Kickstarter, baby.
Oh, don't you mean sidekick? Daniel!
Nemesis requires you to serve as Nemesis commands. Nemesis commands you, underling, to find Outer Space Boy and inform Nemesis of his location. Very well. Nemesis shall reward you greatly should you discover Outer Space Boy's position. Does underling understand, Nemesis? Good. Nemesis commands you, underling, should inform no other of Nemesis's commands.